No one can construct for you the bridge upon which precisely you must cross the stream of life. No one but you, yourself, alone. Friedrich Nietzsche. Good evening, folks. I know it's late, but thank you for joining me anyway. And usually on Fridays, I would do something that's just political. That's kind of what I've started and kind of going back to. But sometimes when I've got things rolling, I don't want to keep it to myself. Let me just say it that way. So, just so you guys know, still $0 cryptocurrency, and that's been over 15 months, going on 16. People have given me super chats, and I thank people for that. And if people want to donate when I'm offline, but it's not Bitcoin or Vertcoin, or you don't want to feed Google, although you're feeding PayPal, although it's just a small amount rather than taking a big chunk of what you donate, where you're giving it to Google and YouTube, you're giving PayPal like it's like less than $1. Pretty small amount, sometimes more than $1, depending on how much you donate, but you don't have to donate much. And then of course the first video of the month, if there's any donations here, I will say thank you and just kind of give an update of how much I received that month and total. Just that's why I have cryptocurrency, because you can always view how much money is being sent to me and how much I'm getting. So it's all transparent, and so since nobody's giving me anything, well, you're not going to find anything. Okay, so I can move on. So I've had kind of so Heraclitus, kind of found him, and then listening to some more stuff about Heraclitus and like influencers, people who have been influenced by Heraclitus. One is being Nietzsche, and sorry, I'm just gonna say Nietzsche just because it's gonna be a lot faster to say than Nietzsche. I haven't gone in depth into Nietzsche stuff, just kind of listening around, and I might have to go into it. I may have to go into a whole bunch of stuff later on, and I think it's great to find it now, to understand it now, because before I was like, that's just one weird guy, oddball. Now I am there. Now I am there. I am here, to be exact. The quote that you see at the beginning of the show, but of course, in case you missed it, is no one construct for you the bridge upon which precisely you must cross the stream of life. No one but you, yourself, alone. And it's pretty straightforward and correct. If you're going to find the truth, it's not going to be from someone else. You're going to have to find it yourself. Not that it's relative or subjective, it's objective. But you're going to have to, if you have to rely on just being handed down what it's just not that easy. Let me just say that. It's not that easy. Heck, it's still hard for me. And I am there. I'm at the end. And I would say that basically it's closing in on me. And that's what it's supposed to do. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, well, you will eventually. When you do, basically, when you're probably watching this now, and you're like, what is this Bond guy talking about right now? But then you watch and listen to me when you think you figured it out, and you're ready. You can be like, oh, okay, I get what Bond's talking about. I know. Okay, and a lot of things start to make sense as far as certain parts of written history and things like that, and or just how things are currently around us. And that's why I titled this one "Who, What, When, Where, and How You Are." And we'll go over that a little bit more later. Right now, I just kind of want to share a little bit of Nietzsche's quotes, and this is just one that's compiled by goldcast.com. And I think, despite whatever, for whatever you heard about Nietzsche, don't worry about that. Just focus on the quotes, okay? And most of these you've heard before. Like, 1, that which does not kill us makes it stronger. 2, sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. We see that quite a bit now, right? It is not a lack of love, but a lack of friendship that makes unhappy marriages. Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster. And if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you. And that one is a good one. The reason why that's a good one is because people are so adamant about going to change the world and that they're going to go and force that change. But when they're doing that, they're becoming the monsters that they're going out to fight. The violence is begun at that point, even though the violence that has been done by those monsters that they're going to fight, it's been done. It should have been done when it was occurring, I guess you could say, because there are times, well, time itself moves forward or moves wherever it goes, and people change, things change, situations change, and what ends up happening is, well, you end up going to a place where you knew you did not want to go. But that's not to say that the monsters aren't there to fight. They're going to come to you. When the time comes, they're going to come to you. And it's whether you are ready for it and you stand by your convictions and your integrity, how you go about encountering and handling that situation. Whether the outcome is victorious or not, the victory is in which how you stand up to it, how you brace against it. So that is a big one with me. I like that one a lot. The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly. Yeah, we do notice that too. One ought to hold on to one's heart, for if one lets it go, one soon loses control of the head too. Now that one is just, some of these I'm just kind of like glance over it, like it doesn't get me to reflect anything, right? So if I don't have anything to reflect, what's the point of trying to make it happen, right? The snake which cannot cast its skin has to die, as well the minds which are prevented from changing their opinions, they cease to be mind. Yeah. And we're going to see similar quotes similar to that. Sorry, I used double language there. We'll get to that. I think there's another quote that does it better justice, but we'll keep going. The surest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold in higher esteem those who think alike than those who think differently. Yeah, right. We see a lot of the commonality, right? It's just because other people are saying the same things. Therefore, look, haha, we got more people on our side. So we're probably more right than you are. Not necessarily, but that's kind of how it's gotten to be. Right, and you'll see it. And I think when you grew up, and I'm sure there are people growing up now who are still in public education and stuff like that. You form groups, cliques, whatever, and you look at somebody that just thinks differently, walks differently, talks differently, just to their own stride, just doesn't seem to care about the things that you care about, and you just think them a little weird, off the wall, just, so once you get to know them, you're gonna probably think differently, and then the people who you hung around with are gonna say, hey, why are you all so different all of a sudden? Anyways, I'm not upset that you lied to me. I'm upset that from now on I can't believe you. We see that a lot now. Yeah, it's to me, when those lie to me and become hypocrites, that sucks. It kind of hurts, and sometimes you just have to. Sometimes you let that hurt. You just reflect it back, and just intensifies, and then they become the victim for lying when you were the initial victim, and things like that. But it's good, because when someone lies to you, someone does something to hurt you intentionally, and they knew it, it's good, because in a way, you don't really have to associate with them or agree with, or just, if they tell you look into something, it's like, nah, no thanks. It's like they tell you something and they go, whatever. Look at that. I'm just like, as great as that stuff sounds, I'm just upset because I can't believe you anymore. It doesn't matter to me. It's just whizzing past me. It's insubstantial. You might have thought about all that, if it seems important to you, go for it. But for me, maybe I'll look into it or not, but it's not high priority, because quote's a good one. All right. No one can construct for you. I already read that one. That's the quote of the day. This is a quote I've used in the past, which we also see today. Bear in mind, Friedrich Nietzsche was born on October 15th, 1844, and he died on August 25th, 1900. So when you think about some of these quotes, how much does it reflect today after 119 years after his death? 119 years after his death. How much does this reflect with you today, or in today's society? He quotes, "Today, as always, men fall into two groups, slaves and free men. Whoever does not have 2/3 of his day for himself is a slave, whether he may be a statesman, a businessman, an official, or a scholar." That right there, 119 years ago, before he died, that was pertinent to him. Today, 119 years later, the environment looks totally different, but it's almost exactly the same. Another quote: "There are no beautiful surfaces without a terrible depth. The lonely one offers his hand too quickly to whomever he encounters." Yeah, it's a little bit of the trust factor. You have your way, I have my way. As for the right way, the correct way, and the only way, it does not exist. Yeah. We're all different in so many ways that makes us beautiful, right? You can have the biggest diamond in the world, duplicate it, and just have billions of it. But you get that one flawed diamond, or maybe it's not even a diamond, it's an emerald, and compared to all those huge diamonds, that emerald stands out, and it's just going to be it's so beautiful because of the difference it has. And to think that if you're going to follow in someone else's footsteps, that you're going to get to where you think you're going to go, I'm sorry to say this, but you're not going to get to where you want to go. Elijah Freeman says, "Sup, Abon, glad you're here. Can't wait for the world to catch up to your good research and opinion." Thank you, Elijah Freeman. Well, I'm trying not to do too much opinion, but I guess in some ways it is, right? Another one, man is the cruelest animal. Can be. There's always some madness in love, but there's always some reason in madness. A lot of the wordplay, we find a lot where you could think of those yourself, but they've always been around quite a while. The true man wants two things, danger and play. For that reason, he wants woman as the most dangerous plaything. I would love to have seen, maybe I'll have to read up on Nietzsche's love life. That would be interesting. What does your conscience say? You should become the person you are. And isn't that kind of funny? And it starts when you're a kid. It starts with a lot of the kids that you hang up around. Same with the people that you associate with when you're an adult. You know, that simple term called peer pressure. It's like, you know what you should do or what you shouldn't. You know the consequences. You know whether it's something that you'd want to do or not do. Yeah, you're kind of forced into it in some way. You're not really forced. You have your own decision whether you want to do it or not. So, sometimes you just have to listen to your conscience. What does you yourself say? Talk to yourself. You know, do I want to do this? And if I am doing this, why am I doing this? Who am I doing this for? Am I hurting anyone when I'm doing this? All this stuff will go through yourself, and you'll know the answer. Yet sometimes you'll do it regardless. That can lead to some things where you're going to regret it. And when you regret things in that type of way, you're going to take it out on something. Sometimes more of it is going to be against yourself. But, all right, so the next one, blessed are the forgetful, for they get the better even of their blunders. I don't want to go there, but here's another good one that I really like. Here the ways of men divide. If you wish to strive for peace of soul and happiness, then believe. If you wish to be a disciple of truth, then inquire. So that one is a good one. I mean, what's just funny now is, like, I never studied Nietzsche. Heck, I never even read a lot of his quotes. Just some quotes that pop up and go, oh, that's a good quote. Who's that? Friedrich Nietzsche. And then I hear Friedrich Nietzsche in certain conversations before, movies and articles or whatever, names mentioned, but I never really studied him. Now I'm going to study him, and right now it's just because it resonates. Didn't resonate with me before, it resonates now, therefore let's see where it goes. It's weird how reaching out to someone, asking for an interview, getting a name back, and all of this, looking down into a whole bunch of things, and finding a quote by Heraclitus and resonating with Heraclitus's fragments and things like that, and then gets to Nietzsche, and then here I am. Now I'm just flabbergasted is the word, even though I don't like using that word. A lot of people out there are just striving for just peace of soul and happiness. Just carve out what you can in this life, and if you just believe hard enough, you could do whatever you want. And just think that you're going to be okay when it's all said and done. Then there's those we just keep going. And it's like, why do we keep going? There's reasons why we keep going. It's because there's just the truth. There's just so much shrouded and it's out, like, to use illusion or Maya, I think is just now too commonplace. I'd say distractions. You know, we're just surrounded by distractions, and what is it that we're actually here for? And this is why I titled this Who, What, When, Where, and How You Are. First is like who you are. Think about who you are, right? When you're born into this life, you get a given name. That name has nothing to do with any decision that you've ever made. Just like you don't get a say in where you're born, who you're born to, and what name that you receive. At that point in time, you're just assigned, right, to something. Your parents, your country, your location, your status, and all of this stuff. Okay? Is that you? Is that at that point of time that you're born, is that name that's given to you, is that you? Or did you become that? No, that's just a way to differentiate yourself before so many other people. And that's just something that you've kept. You can change your name. I could change my name, but people know who I am. But more importantly, do you know, like, do I know who I am? I know who I am. But do you, like, just think of every point in your life. For me, it's been almost 41 years. In almost 41 years, if I split it up into 41 parts, and when I'm 1, when I'm 2, when I'm 3, just look at each of those times. It's like, what was the closest point in any of those years where I am where I am now, like my age. So maybe last year when I was 39, was that closest to me now? I'd say no. So much has changed in less than a year. The things you may have to worry about is when you notice that there's 1 year, the year before, the year before, the year before, you're pretty much exactly the same. Like, pretty much go back throughout your lives. What's so different about you the previous year than you are now? And there's going to be a purpose behind it. Why did you change? There's no reason to change without a purpose. So why did you change? What was the purpose? Now that is you. You made that conscious decision that to have the ability to change, that purpose of changing. That was there. But then there's going to be a lot of years where it's like, that's kind of the same. That's kind of the same. For me, it's almost like when I was from, I'd say 28 to maybe 36. I mean, heck, maybe even 25 to 36, 37. No, because when I had kids, got married, that was a little bit different. It changed in some ways. So, yeah, maybe it's from 25 to 30, 33 or something. You know, I'd say that was like, it's all just one big blur because I didn't change in any way consciously to be who I wanted to be. And am I going to be different from a year from now? I would say. I don't know. I could regress, maybe there'd be a purpose behind it. I don't know. I don't think so. I think there's I'm looking forward to challenges in some way, and I'm not going to seek out the challenges. I'm just going to let the challenges occur when they need to occur and handle it when it happens. And so that gets to the what are you? Who, like, I think there's just how can I explain the what? For example, there's a Carl Jung that has archetypes. Let me just double check. So just kind of, just 12 archetypes. Heck, they even, yeah, Jungian archetypes. So I remember hearing that, seeing that, but never got in depth into it. You know, you got the sage, innocent, explorer, ruler, creator, caregiver, magician, hero, outlaw, lover, jester, and regular person type of thing. So it's kind of is if in some ways a lot of that's just always been around. You can be a mix. You can be try to be none of that, but being none of that, you become one of that because those archetypes were formed in just the varying degrees of how you choose the direction of your actions. So when a situation arrives, you're going to handle it a certain way, and whether it doesn't matter how much, you know, like the trash talkers, the people who talk a lot, they go, "Oh, when this happens to me, I'm gonna be like, bow, bow, bow," and all that jazz, and then like something happens, they're like, "Ah," and then they start running or something like that. You know, it's just when that moment happens, it's just what the instinct of who you are, it just happens. It's just reactionary part. You know, you could if something is coming and you just have a plan for it and you're kind of ready for it. You know, that's one thing, but the other thing is something unexpected happens and you are not ready for it. And how do you react to it? And a lot of those times, those archetypes are there. That's kind of the essence of what you are. So just something to keep in mind there. When are you? So it's kind of, when is a weird one. Let me just go and switch it over. So, like when is always now, but when I guess, are you ready to be who you are wanting to be or meant to be or trying to be, that being of, I guess the best way to put it is when you're comfortable with what happens and how things are now. It's like you're to be at a point when your want is lacking, right? A lot of time when you're growing up as a kid, especially when you're in the material part of your life, is just, I want this, I want that. Oh, I would love to do this and that, and to get that, I want this and need this and whatever. But you know, it's like if you didn't have any of those wants, if you never got any of those wants, are you content? Are you okay with it? Do you have to have those things in order to say your life is fulfilled? And it's if you're not ready to ask that question or to even answer that question, well, yeah, you're not ready. But when can you be ready? When are you going to be ready? That I don't know when it'll happen. I mean, it just appears random, but I think a lot of it has to do is, well, you want to be ready. And once you want to be ready, I think that's when it occurs that you're going to get signs to point to, okay, this is what you're going to need to do. And it's, again, the path is a solo one. It's one that other people can help you with, but you're going to have to walk that line yourself. And I think that's what a lot of religious people, I would say, the ones who have been, I would say, misguided or corrupted or whatever, they'll tell you, oh, you need to follow this path. It's no. The path is your own, and you're going to need to figure things out on your own. And in figuring things out on your own, you're going to have to just keep inquiring about, asking yourself questions, finding out the answers, being honest with yourself, and just realize there's a lot of work to be done. There's always a lot of work to be done. And hopefully you don't get overwhelmed, but just take those small steps and enjoy little parts of the things that have changed. I think one of the best things about this is, rather than looking forward to like a birthday, to especially again material when you're younger and you're wanting, it's like, oh, I can't wait till my birthday so I can get this. It's almost the opposite. It's like you can't wait till your birthday to see how different you were before of the things you no longer wanted or needed to want. So it's almost as though you're going forward by looking backward, and that's kind of why you kind of look backwards in history and others, and find those that we resonate with, and we realize, okay, all these distractions, but there are signs, there are some certain things that I saw and other people were talking about maybe, but just why do I keep thinking about it? Why does it just kind of make sense to me? Like, I don't know. Let's just stop and think about it for a while. So you stop and think about it for a while, you start looking into it and you go, oh, I get it. Wow. It's like, that's like by chance, but it can't be by chance, because if I didn't look into it, stop and to just stop and think and just look into it and just pause, and this whole, we're always moving so fast, trying to do so much to get ready for the next day even, and just stop. All right, this is just always, why is this happening? All right, and those signs are there, and once you investigate it, it gets you to where you want to be. And if you're at that point, then yeah, the when is always gonna be now, and it's fine. You don't have to hurry. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's how much you can take before you give up in some ways, right? It's like, how far can you go before you want to stop? And sometimes the great thing, I almost said the word glorious. I don't want to say that word. I don't know why, but it's just you're just happy. It's not like you're wanting to be happy. You're just happy. And you're like, I don't know why. I really don't. This is like I would have thought I'd be happier a year ago when I was making, say, 150 grand a year or something like that. Instead, I'm making almost like negative however much. And but I'm happy because I'm free, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and it's something that I'm okay with, right? If something happens, whatever, it happens. But do I do the thing am I going to just be afraid as it's happening, or am I going to step forward and, despite the fear, and go, you know what? This is not right. And yeah, you can just speak out. Part of it's speaking out. Be active in your stance against, I guess, because the way to shine. Look, here's one thing about light versus dark. It doesn't matter how dark it is. Darkness is darkness. It can't extinguish the light. It can't make the light any dimmer. No matter, just darkness is just at one level. That's it. Now you've got light, and you can shine bright. You could just be dim, but the amount of light that you want to shine, that's on you. It's not on anything else. That light is however bright you want it to be. Sometimes it's so bright that you might be blinded yourself, but just you can control it, and not anyone else. Now, where are we now? People think, so where are you actually? Like, I would ask the question, where am I? You could think of it in the material of like the globe or the flat earth, the shape of the earth, whatever. That's one thing. You could think of it that way, but just where are you as to, I guess the best point is your journey. Is like, where do you need to go? What is, it's not like, where do you want to go for vacation? Not that type of where. Just it's like a point. It's almost like when, right? But it's like a where. It's like, I feel as though there's more I want to do. Not want in that want way. More I understand that I have to do in order to just understand more and get to the point where maybe others can get there too. And that's when changes in the world happen. Not because we're out there trying to force change in the world, but the world comes to force their change upon us. And that's where we say no. This is not the change we need. In fact, we're going to want to do the opposite of the change that you're wanting. And this spider is going a little bit too crazy over here. All right. And so that where point. And it's also, when you get closer to where you know you're going to end up, it's a weird way of saying it, the more likely that you know that that's probably going to be the end point, right? You're just there's so much at that point is like, well, there's nowhere to go except there. It's like you reach the end of the road. You either have to go back or you keep going. But if it's the end of the road, if you keep going, who knows where that goes? It's no one's gotten there. At least not that road, not that road, end of the road type of thing. And it's like, well, I guess we're just gonna have to see. And at that point, heck, who knows what happens? Because almost like we don't know. That's why we're in this mess. We're in this cloud or this fog of unknowing. And then how is the big question? How you are. How did we get to be here? How did we get to be in the situations that we find ourselves in? Not just the way that the world appears to be, but where you are and how you are. And it's like everyone at some point in your life, especially very material, heck, even now, you probably always wish, oh, I wish I could be a basketball star. I wish I could be an actor. I wish I could do this thing. I wish I could whatever. And the opportunities always never seem to be there. But the thing is, the best thing to do is right now, let's say you get what you want, but you know the things that you don't want. Now, if you get the things that you want, but in order to do so, you have to do the things you don't want, are you going to be okay with that? Is that going to affect you? Say, like, who wouldn't want $1 billion? But then when you talk about all the people who are billionaires, how they're doing shit and how they just want more and more money and greed, and they do things, meddle in political affairs, do all these other things. It's like we can't find one good old billionaire. It seems. What happened? You would have at least one that's good. That does things for a lot of people, and it shows, and there's whatever. And at that point, say, it's like, how, like, what, like, you would think, okay, what would I do with as a billionaire? And you list a bunch of things, and would you do those bunch of things? That, I guess that's the point. Especially with, if those things that you do were tied in, I guess. It's like, oh yeah, you can do this, but you know what? You better give some of this to this. And it's like, why? It's like, well, you know, do you want to protect your billions of dollars? You're like, I guess. So you're gonna do it. But like, would you stand up against that? And you realize that, I guess that's why billionaires don't do these things, because now I'm one, and I have to do all these things, and I get it. Most people won't get it, but it's just kind of the same thing. You know, whatever you're at, whether you're a politician, high rising politician, you're just some rock star, actor, someone who's famous, or just a celebrity or something like that. All of those come with these decisions that you're gonna make, and then at the end, you just realize, you know what, I don't really care for this stuff. There's a reason why I didn't like that in the first place, even though it's. You can still be all those things. You just can't have the success, right? So are you going to do it just for you enjoy doing it, or are you doing it for a different motive? And part of the thing that I realize is that there's an exchange. There's an exchange of material in order for the immaterial, I guess you could say. You know, if you want more of the immaterial, the spiritual, whatever you want to quantify it as, you're going to have to give up the material. But the more material you get to give and you don't have, the more of the other essence that you get. And once you are filled with that essence, it's time to go. It's time to go. And there are some things where, this is where I was thinking of, you know, the tithing, right? Or just the religions where you donate to them, they give you spiritual sanctuary, I guess you could call it, right? They save your soul, or you know, they tell you what you need to keep doing to do this for your soul and whatnot. That used to be, I would say, a thing that was actually useful, because you get these you're like, look, we can't have all these spiritual teachers who can help guide people to get filled with the essence where they understand, and well, we need to keep them around. So here's money, here's material things, and so it lowers, you know, that essence level down. And so they go, okay, since I'm endeavoring in this little thing, you know, I'm not ready to go yet. So here, this is how I got to my point in time. Now, what ended up happening is you got hundreds, if not thousands of people, now millions, if not billions of people, if there are that many people, telling you need to do this, and okay, and then you give them money, and they have these, if not billions, trillions, if not even trillions, however, just almost like an unlimited pool of material things. And rather than giving it away or giving it back, because that's what they're supposed to do, is to give it back, because if they have it, then they no longer have what they have. So basically, since they didn't give it back, you're basically trying to gain spiritual knowledge, I guess, wisdom, Sophia. That's what I'm more talking about. And these people are now so materialized that whatever that they have, whatever wisdom that they have to share, they don't know. They don't have it. It's been replaced by the opposite. Just the material, the self gratifying need of just of more things, I guess, rather than realizing that it's just less things. Focus on the things that are more important rather than all the little things that take up your day. Because, like I said, almost everyone, even me, keep thinking there's just so much to do. And when you at the end, when you realize that there's actually not much we need to do at all. We fill up all our times with all these things that are unnecessary. And we can the thing is, once we realize that, we can focus on the things that are helpful and necessary. And it's like everything is so upside down and inverted. And it's just amazing in every way how this happened. But it's a good thing, actually. It makes us gets us to where we want to be a lot easier and faster. To what ends, like, I don't know. I'm at this point. Who knows? I might know in a year. I may never know. I may know. Maybe right before I die, I go, oh, if I could only live stream this, people would be all right. Type of thing. Anyways, that's just kind of stuff that I wanted to share. Just things that were on my mind. And again, anyone who wants to come in can talk with me. You could talk about the subject at hand. You could talk about philosophy. Heck, you could talk politics. You could talk whatever you want. The information to join Zoom is there on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, you can go to vim.tv or on Steemit, and that would be there. If you don't want to go to any of those, just ask in the chat. Otherwise, that's kind of it for tonight for me. I'm gonna read up on the last two chats, or a couple chats. Bob, hi Bob. This is probably the human condition even when Göbekli Tepe was young. Elijah Freeman just meant in general. Bob, I suppose these videos can serve as a sort of journal to pass on to your offspring, so your offspring can get a sense of who you were long after you were gone. Probably, but I think it was just gonna be to just miss me, and maybe they'll get it, maybe they won't. It's I'm not too worried about them. They're going to figure things out, and they're going to have my guidance in some way or another. Let's just say that. And thinking of that, although my father, I would say, would not do the same for me, but would my ancestors, or his ancestors. I don't know. That's a good question. That is a good question. And I know no one asked it, but that's a question for myself. Hi, Port Film Co-op. Anyways, let's see. It has been, wow, almost 51 minutes. Like, I really don't like talking that much, really. I just like to listen and just make snappy remarks or bad puns and jokes and things like that, as my wife will attest to you if you ever get a chance to talk with her. And my daughter, she likes to talk. I don't like to talk that much. I like to play games. I like to fish. I like to just enjoy the outdoors. Sometimes get my hands dirty. Sometimes not get my hands dirty. Heck, if I have clean water to wash my hands, I like getting my hands dirty. If there's nothing like that, yeah, I want to keep my hands clean. It's just one of those things, you know. So let's see. I may do a live stream tomorrow night, since I'm staying here for the weekend. Maybe even Sunday night. Who knows? One of the things I wanted to go and explore a little bit more is Heraclitus in depth. maybe look at the fragments a bit more, different translations. Same thing with Nietzsche, and maybe another one who was influenced by Heraclitus, except I can't remember that person's name right now, so I'll have to wait for that. One of the things that I do like, and like I have so many things that I could go on for, but I still have them in the back of my mind, just like was it the Bobby Fischer, chess player, some of his stuff, but I'm going to hold off on that as I explore these things that just kind of come up. Let's see, Elijah Portfolio Co-op. Have I looked into Michael E. Jones? I haven't. Let me look into that. Now, when I look on some of these things, I may not explore it. Like if it doesn't resonate, I just kind of keep it in the back burner. So another one is Martin Kenny. Why does that sound name familiar? Now, another thing that I watched a while ago that someone made a comment on my backup YouTube channel. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's in my history somewhere. I wonder, am I able to share like my history? You know what? I should try to spend some time and have playlists for certain topics, right? So, I mean, a lot of these topics are just kind of everywhere, but I think some playlists are pretty good. And heck, I love going back to things I've not just once or twice looked past, but now third time. I mean, things like Bill Cooper, just revisiting some of his stuff. His stuff before the 21st century. I mean, just the things that he was talking about. Heck, someone else even before him, you know, in the maybe even the probably the 50s, 60s or something like that. Same, pretty much foretold all the conditions that were going to be happening this day. And just like I was talking about Nietzsche, how some of his quotes, you know, 119 years ago, pretty much reflects how things are today, and that's just amazing. Sorry, I'm trying to look for something here. I can't find it. Anyways, I wanted to do a topic on it, so you'll see that from me as well. So pretty much a packed week. I keep trying to have conversations with people, do interviews, because one of the things that's lacking is me actually talking to someone else. So it'd be good to have people to talk to, compare notes, and just see where they're at, where I'm at, and how much of the puzzle we can just share with people, and the big picture. Knowing the big picture and understanding the big picture are two different things. Like the who, what, when, where, and why of all this. Even if you know the answer, it's just you just get more questions. Really, you get the answer. Oh, I got so many questions. Oh, no, I already told you the answer. That's just one answer. Yeah, so you can figure it out for yourself. It's like, it's like my daughter. She's like, to me all the time with my bad jokes. Anyways, more Heraclitus, more Nietzsche. Heck, even Heraclitus and his criticisms. I really want to get to those because he criticized Pythagoras as being pretty horrible, of the worst. And Pythagoras is pretty much held in the highest esteem by many of the current establishment, you could say. So that'll be interesting. And then of course there's that one video that someone asked me to watch, so I did. And heck, I'll look up Michael E. Jones and Martin Kenny. All right, so thank you for joining me. Nobody came in, so I am ending it, and I got it all done in under an hour. So thank you very much for coming and listening. And if you want suggestions to who you would like to kind of go over in depth or just explore, by all means, list them. Oh, okay. So Elijah Freeman, I'd like to have a conversation with you about one of the conversations I saw between Martin Kenny and another YouTuber, and his insight on who or what we are and where we are. Portfolio Co-op. If you could listen to E. Michael Jones in interview, give it a chance, and then get back to me at another time on stream. Okay. Elijah, if you want to go ahead and comment on that conversation, let me know and I'll take a look. Sounds interesting. All right. Good night. Good night, Bob. Good night, Leisure. Good night, Portfolio Co-op. And everyone else who's watching. See you some other night.